It's your mama's favorite podcast and the number one unknown podcast in the world. Have you ever heard of I actually don't know what the term is, but it's life inversion is the way that I heard this recently.
Okay, I need you to elaborate.
So it's basically looking through the lens of if someone was out to compete with me directly, what would they need to do to beat me? And you basically the inverse of your life. So you look at it as this is my direct competition. If all of your flaws, where you procrastinate, your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
If they wanted to beat me, what would they have to do? And then you flip it as then why am I not doing those things?
I like that. Have you utilized this or put this?
No, I totally forgot about it until I just looked at my notes.
I do like that. And it kind of goes along with that one thing that we were talking about last week or 2 weeks ago where Togi doesn't want to die and then get in a room with all of his self and be like, damn, you guys beat me. But that's a good way and a good perspective on how to put things into place. Because I think about when people talk about motivation and when we bring it up on here and how we hate that term motivation.
Yeah.
And how it ebbs and flows so much. But how do we look at life differently so we don't need those peaks and valleys of motivation to get to something? And I think when we position it, or if we were to position it in ways like this, or the way that Togi says it, then I think it would just come more naturally and you would never have to worry about the peaks and dips happening because you would always have on the forefront of that person doing more, being more, and accomplishing those things faster than you're going to accomplish them.
I think there's always going to be spurts of motivation. You're just always going to, there's days where you're naturally just motivated to do more.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's ever going to go away. But just on the everyday, it gives you a purpose. You have a sense of okay, I need to basically beat myself, but you're gamifying the system. The way that I heard it was they said imagine yourself you with a mustache, a fake mustache, and that's the evil version of you that you need to beat. It's weird.
It's kind of like SpongeBob and Patrick.
Yeah.
SpongeBob would always go in there. Patrick would be this little fucking shit that's trying to do more than him, even though fucking SpongeBob had the better life over at the Krabby Patty. And I think I need to look at it that way too, man, because you look at all these things and sometimes you go through workouts and it's I got that workout done. But it's if somebody was given that same workout, would they have went harder than I did? And I know that I can answer yes to that question. It's the same thing with work and stuff like that. I think I'm doing a lot, but is somebody else doing more than me? Same thing with building a business, because there's always outside noise that is going to pull you away from these things. But like you said, if it's down to your core, the purpose and value, the sub 3 that you're going for right now, if you don't make sacrifices, it's going to end up the same results that have happened the last 2 times.
Yeah.
Where you don't hit it. And so always keeping that little fucking devil you on your shoulder, I don't think is a bad thing to keep the fucking focus in the direction of where you need to go and want to go.
I think the reason we don't do it all the time is just complacency. We get in it and it becomes the normal. So we talked about it recently, the things that you want to achieve, you prayed for one time are now your reality, but you're living in it. So you don't recognize the magnitude of what it actually is. And so we get caught up in this chasing the next thing, and it distracts us from what we're actually doing.
Yeah. When we were in Oak Island and I've been waiting on a text to be sent and it hasn't been sent. So now I'm doing my part and I'm bringing this up.
I'm assuming this is from the girls.
Yeah, from our Oak Island trip.
I was was I supposed to send a text that I didn't send?
No. So from our Oak Island trip, we were sitting on the beach and Mandy's I could cry right now because of how beautiful life is. We're sitting on the beach right now, enjoying life, having great conversations, taking the moments in. But outside of that, we all want more out of life.
Yeah.
And how do we hold each other accountable to get that more? We know that the twins are building the Conaway twins. We know that Mandy has goals that she wants to, that she doesn't stick to, just like the Conaway twins, just like Mandy, just like us. And we're all going towards something. We're building DTI. But how do we hold each other accountable to make sure that we're doing the things we're saying? So for instance, for Mandy, it's we'll hold you accountable to post. For the Conaway twins, it's we'll hold you accountable to get these collabs that you want or to get these next follower numbers, whatever it is. And for us, they would hold us accountable to, push these the way that we want to, or for instance, getting them into Amazon so that way they fulfill them. Like things like that, where we get on a weekly call and it's just an accountability call to help each other strive and grow towards the goals that we want in and out of life. Those will change, things will alter, but at least we keep that traction moving forward so we don't get complacent. Because we get complacent and it's like, oh yeah, we sold some every single week since we dropped it. But it's like, how many more could we have sold if there was this, and this? And so I'm bringing this up right now because I think it would be extremely beneficial for us to get this group going, to hold each other accountable, to push towards the goals, to make sure like we're treating it like a job where literally like we have deliverables.
It needs to be treated like a business, which sounds crazy because it is a business.
Yeah.
But it's not treated like one. And we say it all the time and we don't like saying it on here because like it sounds like, oh, they're not doing anything, which isn't the case.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I also need to be vulnerable and say like we come up short all the fucking time. And that's just the reality of it. And it's because we're not held accountable to things.
Yep.
Like it's no different than me training for this race and having certain paces or certain things that I need to hit. And if it was me, I know I'm not going to do them because everything's fine. Like I'm progressing, I'm doing fine. And that's how we look at this. It's like, do we come to record because we have to record? Or do we come to record like with the thought of like, this could impact someone's life? More often than not, it's like, oh, we got to record this week. Like literally right before this is, what are we talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, it's all of those areas. And again, like when we hear people talk about the journey of success, they do it day in and day out. They fucking live, breathe, fucking dive into it.
If you know me, then you know I love a good beer, but I also like waking up early to train. That's where Athletic Brewing Company comes into play. Athletic makes award-winning non-alcoholic craft beer that tastes like the real thing because it is the real thing, just without the alcohol. These are for people who train hard, who chase goals, who live active, but still appreciate cracking open something cold at the end of the day. And here's what we love most. Choosing Athletic isn't about removing something, it's about keeping everything that matters. Flavor, ritual, social moments, and still being able to perform tomorrow. So if you want a beer that fits your lifestyle instead of fighting against it, hit up Athletic Brewing Co. and use code Dylan20 for 20% off your first order. Back to the show.
Quick pause to shout out one of the brands we've been repping lately, Optic Nerve. If you spend time running, grinding outside, or just living life in motion, these are the kind of shades that work. Optic Nerve has been around for over 4 decades, building sunglasses that blend real performance and clean style. The polarized lenses deliver 100% UV protection, cut glare, and keep your vision sharp, whether you're hitting a morning run, midday errands, or winding down after. We use this because for us, it's not just about looking good. It's about practicality and comfort. So if you're tired of cheap shades that don't hold up, hit up Optic Nerve. Go to opticnerve.com and grab you a pair today. Use code DTI at checkout and you'll get 20% off. Back to the show. It's the same thing with some people that we know that are currently trying to build their own social media channels and stuff like that. Like we see what they're doing, but again, like how do they take that to the next level? What do they do here? What do they do there? And it's making sure that like you have the lofty goals of like, this is the end game. And then you create that roadmap of like, here's what it goes to. But it's easy for like yesterday you text me, come meet up. And in my head, I'm like, I can't meet up. I told Dylan that I wasn't going to have a drink with him other than my bachelor party and my wedding.
You did say that.
Yeah. And so like that was a reasoning. Would I have loved to stop packing, bro? Yes. Did I need a freaking beer with the boys on a patio? Yes. But in my head, like that was the first thing that came to mind when I got the text. And then I wanted to send another text to you and be like, remember you told me you're not going to have more than 2 drinks at one sitting. Yeah, hold yourself accountable.
You should have, honestly. It was already past that point. But I didn't drink till the back 9. I kept myself in line, and I really didn't drink a lot, like on the golf course. Didn't drink a lot in general, surprisingly, and I Irish goodbye.
There we go. But yeah, it's like even those little things. But again, I hold back from sending the text of like, remember this, remember that. Because I'm like, I don't want Dylan to like be like, dude, fuck off, like whatever. Instead of just holding you accountable to the things. Why are you fat shaming me? Speaking of.
No, honestly, you should definitely send that next time. Because I told myself yesterday morning, dude, I was like, you're about to go into today. the text came out the morning of, are we having adult beverages today? And Brian just came off his bachelor party. So we had both already talked about, like, he was like, dude, I really don't want to drink. I'm like, me either. Like, all right, bet. Like, we'll set the precedent. We're not going to drink. So he says, I'm going to pass on the drinks. I said, you can have mine. I need to lock into training. That cart girl came around, though, dude, and I'm fucking drenched. I already ran 6 miles. I was like, I could have a beer. And I did.
Because like then when you like look at those things where it's like, all right, we're not doing this. If you think of it like a job, if you do those things repeated that your boss says you cannot do, which would be drinking in this, you would be fired.
Yeah.
And so it's taking it to that extent as well, as like, you're not punishing yourself. The punishment is going to be later when you fucking are running or when you don't hit sub 3. The punishment's not having the drinks. The punishment is taking away from what the end goal is.
Dude, I was so confident. I was like, you're about to come out of this feeling so good that you held strong. You're not going to drink until Freddy's bachelor party. And I was like, and by that point, you might be feeling good and even rein it in then. I still have 5 weeks to your bachelor party, so I can pull it together.
Time is ticking.
But we're still 13 weeks out from the race, which is insane. I talked about this in my vlog. I recorded some yesterday, and I was like, the fact that I'm doing 16 miles for a long run 3+ months out is unreal.
Yeah.
But you need to do things differently if you want different results.
Yeah.
And we all know the things that we need to do differently. I know that I didn't need to drink yesterday. Was it better than it could have been? Yeah, 100%. But that's not an excuse. I actually don't feel bad about it. This is the one time that I actually like didn't wake up like, fuck, why'd I do that? I usually like have some regret, and I was like, you kept it pretty in line. Didn't eat like shit. I stayed locked in on that front. When we went home between, I made food there. I had breakfast before I went. I was like, okay, this is better. Better. But yeah, you just have to do shit different if you want different results. I can't approach prep the same way and expect to go sub 3. And let me tell you, I'm doing things different right now. You want to actually, guys, I'm working on my cadence, which is essentially just getting more steps per minute.
Okay.
He said, what's your cadence at? Like, he just said, send me a random run. So I sent it to him. It was like 156, 157. He's like, we need to get that between 170 and 172.
So does this slow you down but speed you up at the same time?
He said, you need the same amount of steps at the same pace. He said, keep it where you are. Where the hell is this app? Oh, here it is. He said, keep it where it is. He said, your pace should not increase. This is what I listened to for 2.5 hours on my long run this week.
Put it up to the mic.
It's starting.
Starting your run.
Every noise is my foot hitting the ground. That's 4 steps in between each of those.
So you're just like do
non-stop, dude. And like it's so easy to get off of that. Like just a little bit and like you got to like reel it back in. But like you have to I'm so focused on my run. It's unreal. I was 171 for my long run. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, you and Tone were talking about that, and I literally was like, I am so far from understanding the running
Truly,
world.
I don't get it. Because I don't understand it. I like, in theory, I understand the concept, but he said like it's all about like getting your feet like used to hitting at that pace and like your hips to, he's like, it's going to increase turnover on your legs when you go faster. He's like, so you're going to be just, he said, after enough time, you're naturally going to run that cadence without realizing it. And so when you pick up paces, it's going to be the same exact amount of steps. It's weird, dude. But he's like, your legs will be used to it and they'll turn over faster.
So then do you have to put that noise to every run that you do, or is it only on long runs? So that way you're...
Run right now.
Holy shit.
I've listened to that every single run this week. I literally, like, I wanted to take my stick yesterday for a 6-mile run, but I didn't have a pocket big enough for my phone, and I needed the metronome, so I had to just go with my phone.
And this is why coaches need coaches, because I don't think you've done this once,
I
correct?
would have never even thought of this.
Yeah. And so this is the thing, people, and this goes and ties right into the conversation that we're having, is having a coach, having an accountability partner, having a boss, having somebody that is like, nope, you got to do this different to see these results. Nope, you have to hit these tasks in order to get here. Nope, you have to, and it just makes you check and adjust. So that way you actually are moving forward in the right direction. Because if you weren't hitting those or doing them at all, he would call you out and be like, what the fuck is going on? We set this up. We said this. Why aren't you doing this? You're not going to hit sub 3. And then it's like, all right, cool. I'm going to do it because I know he's going to call me out on it. And it's got to be the same fucking thing no matter what you're going for. Weight loss. If you're out with a friend, like, dude, when we were training Matt back in the day and we were sitting around the dinner table, you weren't there, and he goes to reach for another roll. And I'm like, you can't have that. Everybody looked at me and was like, you're an asshole. He looks great right now. He can have that. And I'm like, no, he can't. He's got a goal that he wants to hit.
What's he doing right now? Because dude is dropping weight. Is he training again?
Yeah, he's training, lifting, working out.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
I was like, that feels like a secret.
He's training, working out, eating better.
Okay.
Yep. He's focusing on him.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like, and then you look at the data. I think that's what's important too. Like, you look at the data, and I almost sent you a text that I wanted to have just a weekly call with you, like an accountability call, but like where we dive into like metrics on shorts, on your vlogs, on the YouTube videos, like the podcast we drop, all of those things. Look at the data and see, where do people fall off? Where do they pick up? Where do they skip to? What is this? What is that? Because then we can see trends in what people like. And it's like, all right, Dylan, make 5 of these reels because this one went well. Put this spin on it. Okay, Freddie, do this in a clip because this grabbed attention faster than this. It's just like when we said, instead of catching up in the beginning of a podcast, jump fucking straight into it, because we already catch up on a daily basis. And so it's the same thing with those metrics of, you know, being able to monetize on YouTube or getting more clients or selling more journals. It's all of those things, dude. But that's the hard part of life, is holding yourself accountable and is doing what you're doing enough to get to the goals that you want. If so, that's why you're doing the things you are. But if you want more, you have to they have to take it to a different height of accountability and effort and intent to be able to see the end results you want. How fast do you want the weight loss? You want it to happen over 3 months? You want it to happen over a year? You want the habits to stick? Do you not want them to stick? If so, this is the route you take. This is a path you take. We've seen it over and over again with clients. When they buy into a process, knowing that it takes longer because they're doing it for lifestyle and not competing on a stage, things happen, they work, and they stick. And it's not just this get-rich scheme where you do it for 3 months, lose the weight, and gain it right back. And so that's the thing with business and everything. And I think it's good that we talk about this stuff, because life is hard itself, bro. We, like, going through the house building process, there are things we didn't know that we're finding out now. And it's like, damn, we should have done this differently, or we should have done that. Same thing with the wedding planning. We have everything designed, and then it's like, something just doesn't feel right. We go back and we look at it and we alter it and tailor it, because things change, dynamic change, thought process change. But like, at the end of the day, like, what are you striving for? What are you building? What are you going for out of life?
Yeah, I do think it's important to have these audits, which we definitely need to start doing. But I also saw this thing recently where it talks about habits, and it says that cutting out your worst habit is better than starting the best one. Like, you're going to see more results from just cutting out one bad thing than implementing all these good things. So I think, like, if we could target, like, what is the one area that is pulling us down the most, that could excel us as well, which we kind of need the audit to figure out.
Yeah.
But that, I feel like, is a huge obstacle for a lot of people. It's like, let me try to do all of these things to reach the goal that I like. It's not going to work. We talk about this in our coaching all the time. Yep. You can't just throw 20 brand new things in and expect it to stick. But you can remove one thing that is really fucking you up. Because we can all point at one thing that's like, this is why you're not where you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like reverse engineering it. Don't fucking change the playing field, but just adjust the playing field. When we look at clients, it's like, how many steps are you getting right now? Don't change anything. What are you getting currently? 2,300. Okay, cool. That's the benchmark. What do you eat on a consistent basis? I love carbs. I eat chips. I eat bread. I eat pasta. I eat this. I eat that. It's like, all right, let's take some of that out and put some protein in it. Like, it's just minor tweaks and adjustments. But like you said, like when a drug addict wants to get off of drugs, they're not just like, hey, I'm going to implement all these things and then still do drugs on the side. It's like, no, you alleviate the drugs and then all these other
still
things.
do drugs on the side.
Same thing with an alcoholic. Stop drinking so much. What do? Eliminate the drinking, focus on these things, walking more, keeping your mind busy, whatever it is. Like, there's ways to adjust the ecosystem that you live in right now to see tremendous results without overwhelming yourself. Because you give yourself one or two objectives or targets that you know is going to turn that tide, you know is going to turn that ship to head in the right direction. But if you implement a bunch of things and like you said, you never take out that bad habit, nothing's going to ever change.
You mentioned someone walking 2,300 steps and it's stuck in my head right now. I don't even know how that's possible. Unless like you're actively trying to not get steps, to not move 2,300 steps in a day is unreal.
It's easy though, dude. Desk jobs. Work
Bro,
from home, you go up and down the steps.
It's 10 a.m. I haven't done anything today. I have 1,200 steps.
But you also have dogs that you take for a walk. Some people don't have those dogs.
I didn't walk them today. I like took them out to pee and shit, but I didn't walk them.
I got 1,700 today.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you? And it's real. It is real. I know people
real.
do it.
Yeah.
I'm not fat shaming you guys.
You just can't stop.
I can't, dude. All right, I'll get off it. Fuck it, dude. Let's actually not get off it. So, recently, I got a text. Actually, let me pull up the exact thing. I was like, why is this running? But it's my fucking metronome. Let me pull up the exact reel in question here. I posted the other day. The dog's getting fat. We should feed it less. In quotes, like someone's saying this. And then I'm overweight. I must have bad genetics and a slow metabolism. And I got a text from someone that I know that said, why are you fat shaming people? And I laughed. I thought,
Isn't fat shaming over with? I thought that movement died.
I don't know. I mean, you can always shame someone. I thought when I got this text, oh, this is a joke. Like, that's funny. I laughed. Genuinely put 3 laughing faces and said, all for the views. And they said, do you get paid for those views? And I was like, still at this point, I'm like, not serious. I said, not enough. That's fine. I need as many as I can get. And then, like, they doubled down. They're like, you're a metrics dude. Like, how many followers do you gain off of every time you fat shame someone? And I was like, oh, this is actually real.
Damn. You're a dickhead, dude.
And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I was like, I'm not that deep into it. I don't track, like, how many followers I get every time I say some dumb shit. And, like, they continued back and forth for a little bit. I'm like, oh, they're actually upset about it. And, like, my thing is, what are you upset with me about? First of all, that's not fat shaming. What I said's not fat shaming. If I said, you know what? We're not going to do that here because I could get real bad right now. But like that, I've said things that are fat shaming in the past. 100%. I have some in trial reels that aren't out to the world because they're probably fat shaming. But I guess arguably those are out to the world more. But like if I wanted to actually shame you, you would know. I would do it. And you also, not you, this person, know that I'm an asshole. If I was gonna just come for you, I would come for you. But they openly said, dude, I showed up to your wedding loud and round. And I was like, yeah, and I loved every second of it. Because here's my thing. We do this. And I do it with the intent that I hope it affects you. But I'm also not gonna come fucking preach to you. I've been with you. I've done things. I've enabled at times. But if you're going to get offended by it, that's not on me. And maybe like you need to look deeper at like, maybe I'm actually not happy with where it is, regardless of the persona that I put out to the world. Because that's what it actually is. I'm not fat shaming you. If you would like help, I will help you. Like, that's the thing. But I've also been fat. I've been fat while we were friends. And now I'm not. Get your shit together, though. Like, don't fucking... Honestly, just don't be a little bitch about it.
My thing is like, if people truly know the place where we're coming from, because it was like in the beginning, dude. We talked about how there's a balance of life. And if you want to reach your goals, you got to do these things, but you can also enjoy the beers. You can also enjoy the pizzas and stuff, but there is a balance of life. And this is what we preach. But in the beginning, people looked at us and they were like, how are they talking about these things when they're drinking as well?
Yeah.
How are they talking about these things when they eat out as well? I was just with them and they had wings and fries. And it's like, you guys are missing the narrative of the story that we're telling. We are saying that it is acceptable to do all of these things, but there is a way to do it where you can enjoy those things and still see results versus doing those things and not seeing results that matter. And so anybody that knows you or I, despite what the message is, calling somebody fat, calling somebody out for being depressed and we want them to feel better, calling somebody out for living a dirty life, not cleaning their cars or their house or whatever, like all of these things, it's not that we're saying that we're perfect and that we have all these things in order. We know what it feels like to be on the opposite side. And we know that it feels a lot better to be on the side that we're on now. And so when we say these things, yeah, dude, we want to garner attention. We want to get people riled up a little bit. But that doesn't mean that we're attacking specific people individually or coming at people that we care about. It's like, bro, it goes back to the story of when I was around the dinner table. Like, that wasn't me being a dickhead to him. And that wasn't me saying, no, you can't have another. Yeah, go ahead, have another one. But I know what your goals are.
If you would have texted me yesterday, I wouldn't have took it in a bad way either. I'd have been like, you know what? He's right. I did tell him that.
Yeah. And so, like, the people that see our stuff, one, like, it hit a nerve because they're thinking about this subconsciously. So, like, and again, I don't know to the extent of whatever, blah, 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 but, like, it hit a nerve so much that you know that they're thinking about the state that they're in. And so they felt as if you were targeting them because you know them. But in reality, it's like that to me, reach out to us. You want the help. You want the change. But instead,
do you?
I don't know.
Do you? Or do you want to, like, the whole message of the reel that I said was that it's a very simple solution. We just look for an excuse. That's all that is. That's not a targeted thing. And very early on, we had someone else approach us about things that we said on a podcast, and they felt some type of way about it. And I was like, dude, you were not on my mind at all when I said that.
Yeah.
But if the shoe fucking fits your fat foot, then maybe you should wear it. Like,
yeah, it makes me feel like a little bit validated. Like, okay, our messaging is being heard.
yeah.
Because again, it's coming from a place of good intent, despite the comedic relief behind it or whatever. But again, like you said, you have been overweight. There is a picture of you carrying a flag and you're a big motherfucker.
Relax.
You look like a 55-gallon drum of oil.
Dude.
You were huge.
All right.
If you care about putting in work, whether it is crushing workouts, staying sharp during long days, or just doing right by your body, First Form gets it. First Form isn't about the hype. They build on quality, stand by service, and measure everything by real-world results. Their lineup covers it all. Top-tier protein powders, clean pre-workouts, vitamins, green support, and energy drinks. Even apparel for lifestyle. My go-to, their flagship protein and their clean energy drink. Perfect for after a tough session or to get dialed in for a long day. The energy drink drops 200 milligrams of natural caffeine from green tea, has zero sugar, electrolytes, and nootropics for focus, all without the crash of traditional energy drinks. So if you're done settling for mediocre supplements, if you want stuff that's built on intention, integrity, and performance in mind, check out First Form. Head over to firstform.com/DTI to browse their full stack and see what fits your goals. All right, let's get back to the show.
If you care about staying sharp, energized, and ready to perform, Ketone IQ might be for you. Ketone IQ delivers clean, stable energy without a crash. Unlike caffeine-heavy picks, Ketone IQ uses exogenous ketones that raise your levels, giving your body and brain a different kind of fuel. What that means for you is sharper focus on early morning runs, better mental clarity when you're working or grinding through long days, and sustained energy without the jitters or sugar crash. If you want to try it out, head over to KetoneIQ.com and use code Dylan30 at checkout. You'll get 30% off your order. Back to the show. Wow, you got to fat shame people.
Sorry, dude. Love
How
you.
many followers do you get every time you fat shame someone?
0, because I don't post. But that's the thing. It's like, man, like, instead of looking at it from that angle, be like, well, if this fucking offended me, then maybe I should reach out to them. That simple. And it's not us being fucking rude or dickheads.
I can be.
Yeah,
I would
dude.
like to be.
To me, it's like double down on it, make another one. And guess what? Make a fucking another one, dude. Because eventually they're going to see that and be like, I'm fucking over it. And then one day they're going to tell the story of like, I used to think he was talking to me, but then I went and talked to him. And now look at my life. I'm happy. I'm this, I'm that, whatever it is. Like,
I literally only went to the gym because I was called fat to my face, dude. I was working at Apple. I think we've talked about it on this podcast because we had him on. But my buddy Brandon was working with me at Applebee's, and I was just eating some fries, as I do often there.
I love fries.
And he was like, damn, dude, you've really been getting big since you've been working here. And I was like, fuck, dude. That's all it took. One time. Was he being an asshole? I guess technically I could look at it like he was being an asshole.
No, he was being a good friend.
But yes, and then he took me to the gym. We went together for years. It's not like he was like, you're a fat piece of shit, dude. And then just walked away.
And too, if he would have done that, because it happened to one of our friends got told by somebody else, you're getting fat as fuck, bro. And he was like, he called me, this motherfucker just said I was fucking fat. Fuck this dude, blah, blah, blah. And then I didn't say nothing. But guess what?
You are fat.
No. Guess what? They started coming to the gym as well. They started putting it in. They lost 99 pounds.
You ain't wrong, you fat bitch.
They lost the weight and now they're holding it off. They feel good. They feel confident. Like, bro, sometimes that's what it takes is somebody saying some shit that makes you fucking mad. And then you make the change that you've actually been wanting.
Guys, we haven't said it in a while, but the moral of the story is fit people are better than fat people.
Oh, it gives me chills, bro. And that's not us being dickheads. That's us being realistic, bro. Ask any fat person that's lost weight what their biggest accomplishment is or what changed their life trajectory. And I guarantee you they're going to say, I started focusing on myself. Mm-hmm. Now I'm confident. Now I feel better. I sleep better. I still have the fears of going back, or I still have, the cravings. Jelly Roll just talked in a podcast. So that guy that I showed you with the dreads, and I was like, look at his transformation. Yeah. He's a real person. He was on Jelly Roll's podcast. That was AI real. At the end of it.
I was like, I believe he's a real person.
But they were talking about, and Jelly Roll was like, dude, he's like, I may have lost all this weight. He's like, but I'm still a fat boy at heart.
Me too.
He goes, I was just at this place and they have these one cookies. He's like, and I know if I eat one of those, I'm eating 4. He goes, guess what? I had one of them and I literally ate 4 of them. He goes, I still have that in me. He's like, but I know when to reel it in and let it go. And he's like, and I reel it in a lot more than I let it go. So when I have those 4, it's coming to the terms where like, you had those, mm-hmm. You know what this repercussion is. He's like, but then I get back on track. And that dude was talking to him and he was like, I'm the same way. If I go to fast food, I'll get all this stuff. But if I don't go, then I don't. And so Jelly Roll was saying like, you're going to have days where you slip up. Don't let those bad meals turn into 2 bad meals. Don't let those bad days turn into 2 bad days. He goes, because you'll continue to see the progress. And that is the fucking moral of the story, is that when you don't let yourself slip up constantly over and over again, and you know what this goal is that you're working towards, nothing's going to get in the way of it because you have had enough of this side and you want to keep focusing on this side. And so again, like sometimes people need the fucking hard reality, bro. We need it sometimes too.
And I think that it is coming from a place of love. I actually feel like now that I've gotten all my anger about it out, I need to actually reach out to this person and be like, yo, I didn't mean that in that way, but you obviously took it that way. I thought you were kidding at first when you texted me, but like, what's up? Like, just open the door because like,
yeah, like what caused the emotions? What flooded the text message? Was there
even like, dude, how many overweight people do we have in our life that we just don't mention it to? And yes, indirectly we do because it's everything that we talk about. But like, there's a lot of people that I could have a conversation with, like, dude, like, we should probably reel this in. Like, mm-hmm. From a place of love, I would like you to be healthier. And I saw something else recently that was like, telling somebody that they can stay fat because they're beautiful is no different than telling somebody to keep drinking because they're more fun. Mm. And like, we're quick to tell people like, your drinking's going too far, your drugs are going too far. But food, nobody wants to fucking touch it. Nobody wants to say that's a problem. You need to get that together. And I don't know why, but it's something that like I feel like humanity as a whole is like, we don't talk about that.
It's a fine line. And again, like there needs to be people in this world that like say the things that people don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And like sometimes, yeah, it might be a little bit hurtful, but if you know that they're coming from a place of endearment, like, dude, we don't say any of these things to like hurt people's feelings. We say these things as a thing to be like, hey, wake up. Like, we can help with this, or there's plenty of outlets that can help with X, Y, and Z. And you can turn life around. Like, I look when I was at my heaviest, and granted, I was never like obese or anything.
Yeah, you remember
like
a
that.
fucking 55-gallon drum like me.
I was never obese, but like when I was at my heaviest, I was also at my lowest. I was my most depressed. I was least productive. I was everything, bro. And then I started to focus on the physical health, and I realized the mental fortitude that it brought forth. And I was like, there is something here that is missing. And so again, you can be super, super skinny and depressed and anxious, but there's probably some things where it's like, I'm not working out, I'm not this, I'm not that, and that can help benefit that. So it's both ends of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, you look at these different realms, and granted, we can talk about mental and physical health because that's the forefront of us, and it's very easy for people to visualize and understand. But this is the same thing in a relationship, bro. It's the same thing at work. It's the same thing in building a business. It's the same thing in everything. Like, somebody will call you out on your shit and A, ask, why aren't you bigger? Or B, ask, like, bigger in terms of revenue growth, whatever it is. Or B, why haven't you got this promotion yet? Or C, why haven't you got a new car and you've been talking? Like, there are so many things. And when people call you out on it, you're like, motherfucker. And again, it's not that they're doing it out of a disrespect. Some people might, but again, there's left and right spectrums to everything. Mm-hmm. But they're doing it because they know it's important to you. And so again, if something indirectly affects you that is not pinpointed at you, there's something rooted deeper in that. And it's like, how do I change this so that way I don't feel this way when I see something?
There's more care in calling somebody out about something you know they genuinely want than just sitting back and letting them do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
Because most people do just do whatever they want. And if you don't say anything, you're just complicit. Like, you're just letting them run wild, knowing that they have much bigger goals and dreams that they want to achieve. And you can easily be like, that's why you're not doing it.
Yeah. And I think it encompasses like who you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
We always say that if you're around 5 smokers, you'll be the 6. If you're around 5 overweight people, you'll be the 6. Like, you're conducive of the environments that you live in.
Yeah.
And so there also comes a point where you have to like internally be like, am I going to be the person that sets a new standard in this group? Or am I going to conform to the standards that are already set?
Am I going to be fat?
It's like business, dude. There's not many people that actually go out there and try and build companies, trying to innovate and stuff like that. And so like, how are you ever going to get to the heights you are if you're always doing the things that those people are doing, knowing that they're not working towards the goals and stuff like that?
Yeah. It's crazy though, like how many people you think, like, it feels like everyone is, you know, like we're like so in that realm that it like feels like everyone's doing the same thing as us.
Yeah.
And then you see little shit like this and it's like, oh, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah. And it just goes to show like, dude, there's so much to capture out in this world in multiple amplitudes. And so that's why if you have an idea, if you have a dream, if you have a goal, like fucking go after it. Because not only can your story impact somebody or your business that you're building or your social media that you're posting, like there's just way too much to capture out there. And we have the limiting mindset that it can or can't happen and how fast it can or can't happen. But again, it comes down to like, what are your disciplines? How are you prioritizing things? How are you putting the effort in? And so it's cool because these conversations like that one about the Texan stuff, like it relates to me in a different realm because I feel like I can use my brain to be like, oh, this story is impactful, but this is how it impacts my life. And this is how I can like change things that I'm maybe not focusing on enough or doing enough of. And so it's really cool when you can start to think that way, where you hear a story and it's like, oh, I'm going to pull this meaning out in my life because this is how it's affecting me. And yeah, it's just, it's wild that it's wild to see some of the emotions that can come from something when it's not targeted or pinpointed.
Would have never thought that was the one that set someone off.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely been Worse said than that.
100%. Because fit people are better than fat people. Guys, that's all we got for you. Chase your dreams. Fat shame your friends. Kiss your mom for us.
And have the desire to inspire.
Peace.